Hey everybody, welcome to Stamping with Melva. I'm Melva Peters and I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in British Columbia, Canada. And you can find me online at stampingwithmelva.com. A few minutes late, completely distracted. Has ever happened to you? I was sitting doing something, just had a team meeting, so I had a few things to do after the team meeting and completely distracted and missed going live. Well, by about 4 minutes, but that's okay. So I'm here today. I'm going to share a fancy fold. This fancy fold, amazing fancy fold. If you've never checked out Susan Campfield, she comes up with the most amazing fun folds, fancy folds. And so this is one of hers. I'm going to call it a pop-out box card. I don't know what she calls it, and maybe that is what she calls it, because I can't imagine I made that up on my own. And I'm going to use the Endless Love bundle, which is a Valentine's wedding, definitely heart themed bundle. There's actually a whole suite in beautiful Valentine's red and pink colors. I'm just using the bundle today to make a wedding card in white and silver and vellum. I think it'll be really pretty. We'll see how it goes. All right, everybody, I'm going to switch over to my desktop and we'll get started. Don't forget to leave a comment. Let me know where you're watching from. I'm just going to refresh my Facebook so I can see. Seems to be I don't get comments somehow. I don't know what's going on with Facebook. All right, let's switch over to my desktop. So this is the Endless Love bundle. It's in the January to April Stampin' Up! Mini catalog. The suite definitely is Valentine's themed, but you can make all sorts of cards with these. So definitely wedding cards. I'm going to use the Today and Always. I'm using the Playful Alphabet dies to create the words love. You can stamp them out. You could cut them out, but I've got some dies that I'm going to use. And yeah, we'll see how this goes. Like I said, this is called a... Hello, Jane. Welcome. Welcome from the UK. I love it when I get people watching me from all over the world. All right, so I'm using thick basic white cardstock. Get my cheat sheet with my measurements. I've done the scoring already, just because I wanted to make sure it worked. So this piece of cardstock is cut 6 1/4 by 5 1/2, and it's scored at 2 inches. And as always, we're going to fold into the mountain and give it a good burnish with our bone folder. And then the second piece for the card base is 3 1/2 by 10 1/2, and it's scored at, get this going the right way, 2 inches, 3 inches, 5 1/2 inches, and 8 inches. And then when you burnish it, it is burnished and folded as, so mountain, mountain, valley, valley. So it ends up looking like this. So mountain, mountain, valley, valley. And then take and burnish on each of the score lines. And the more you burnish, the flatter like it will lay. It does lay quite nice and flat. Now, I'll show you how this goes once I get it burnished. So when this goes onto your card base, this is the front piece, so you'll have a score in it. And then this, so it goes onto your card base like this and lays flat. Isn't that amazing? And when you open it up, it has this box layer. And then this piece is the inside that you can do some stamping on. Now, one thing I found, and I don't know from Susan's measurements, is I had to take just a smidge, and maybe if I had scored it differently, so I folded into the mountain. Yeah, if I'd folded into the mountain, it would have been better, but because I didn't think about that when I was scoring, you have to kind of flip your card around. I just took my trimmer and just trimmed a smidge off this, like a 1/16 of an inch off this one edge, and then it folds in and closes. Otherwise, it was a little bit too wide and was running into the score line. So you might find, if you don't think about flipping your piece of cardstock so that you're always going to be able to fold into the mountain. You might find you have to just trim that a little bit. Okay, so that's your card base. Again, this blog post is going live in a week or so, and so I'm going to give the measurements in the blog. If you missed any of them in the video as I was doing it, just message me and I will put them in the video. Now I'm using, you can use designer series paper, or I'm using vellum. And so I have got quite a few pieces of vellum, 6 pieces of vellum. So the vellum that you need, and I'll show you where it goes. So for the vellum that you need for the front, like this flap, this box that you create, you need a piece of vellum that is 1 3/4 by, hang on for a sec, 1 3/4 by 3 1/4. You need a piece that is 7/8 of an inch by 3 1/4. You need 2 pieces that are 2 1/4 by 3 1/4. So that's going to go on to your box section. And then you need a piece of vellum that is 5 1/4 for the inside of the card, and a piece that is 1 3/4 by 5 1/4. Now I went ahead and I embossed all of these using the beautiful patterns. Can you see that? Can you see that better? There we go. So that's the beautiful patterns, and so you get this lovely embossed pattern. Now I did that because when you adhere vellum, you can get the vellum showing, and so I'm going to try, and some of my vellum is going to kind of be free floating because I don't want it didn't turn out quite the way I wanted it. Depending on the embossing folder you use, you get more of a solid embossing imprint, whereas this is probably, I'm still going to be able to see the adhesive through it. So that is the trick with vellum, is you can see the adhesive through the vellum, but by embossing it, often you don't. So we'll see how this goes. For now, I'm going to just take, and I'm going to use Stampin' Seal. And I'm going to, for the moment, just add Stampin' Seal where I know it will be hidden. Oopsie. And we'll see how it looks when I adhere it on. It may actually be okay because it's embossed. Yeah, okay, so this works. This is our new vellum. If you haven't seen it, it comes in 12 by 12 sheets. I think it's a little thicker than our previous vellum, but this actually, you can't see the Stampin' Seal. And so I'm pleased about that, so I'm just going to take and adhere it down. If you can see your adhesive through the vellum, you just want to place your adhesive strategically so you don't see it. So there's the vellum on that front piece, and then we'll do the same. And again, I'm going to just place, put the Stampin' Seal here in the middle until I'm sure I can't see. I'm just being cautious. So this is going to be hidden by the inside, or the front box section. And actually that doesn't show either, but I think that's going to stick. There we go. Yeah, this is great. So I do think that this vellum is thicker. And if you miss the vellum coming back, because it used to be 8.5 by 11, yeah, I'm so excited that it's back. So that's the card, main part of the card base. Now let's work on the front, or the box flap. So again, my pieces of the embossed vellum. So this one again is 1 3/4 by 3 1/4. And this one is 7/8 of an inch by 3 1/4. Oops, I'm going to go down what will be the box end of our flap, like that. Now when this goes on, you're going to have, this will show, and then the front. So we're going to put these 2 pieces of vellum. And the measurements are the same. If you want to use designer series paper, you absolutely can. I'm trying to stick to my kind of white and silver theme for a wedding card. There we go. Okay, so there's our vellum, or if it was DSP, put on to the box form. Now when this goes on to the card, so you're going to fold it so these two sections are flat. That's folded inwards like a little card, and so you get this sandwich layer, and then the front is going to go on to the card base, and then the back of the thing is going to adhere to the inside of the card. Now Susan's card has this going all the way to the edge, which I may do, we'll see, and then this back folded flat. So when the card opens up, it opens up like that. But this box isn't, maybe she has it, no, this box, the edge of this top of this box isn't flat if you do it like that. And so that kind of, I don't know, bothered me a little bit. I wanted my box top, which is what I'm calling this, to be flat. So if you move this to just a little bit to the right, just so when you open it, this piece is flat. I kind of liked the look of it better. So I'm going to take and I'm going to put adhesive on this is on the back side of the very front section of the card. I'm going to fold my pieces, and I'm just going to kind of not fully put it down, but I want to do it just so it is flat when the card opens. Get it kind of into where I want it to be, and it's maybe, I don't know, just over 1/4 of an inch away from the left edge. And then you can put adhesive on to the very back of this, the mini cards base section, and then it can just adhere flat. So it's not quite level when it opens, but the box section of the card is laying flat. And so now it's just a matter of decorating it. So it goes together fairly quickly once you get all your pieces cut. So like I said, I cut out some pieces from using the dies. I didn't show you what these dies look like. So for the dies, you have the hearts. So you have some solid hearts. I love this one because you can actually tie a little bow and have this hanging. So I've cut one of those out from silver foil. And then I cut one of these. This gives you the kind of swirly outline die of basic white. And then you have the bigger hearts and some X and O's and some arrows, perfect for Valentine's cards, some hearts that you can cut out. And then I love this little tag, and so I'm using that for the sentiment that says today and always. And I cut out, these are called mini alphabet dies, and I love these. They're in one big piece, and I took a piece of the adhesive foam sheets, attached it to thick basic white cardstock, and I cut out not all of the alphabet because I didn't need it, but I made sure I had LOVE cut, and so that's going to be popped up on my card. So we're going to take, when you're adhering anything onto the front of the card, you want to make sure that you're only adhering it to this left section, not this box top as I've been calling it. And so I'm going to take and use dimensionals. There's some. And I'm going to make sure they're only adhered to kind of half of that heart, so that it's on like that. So now when my card opens, my heart will still be flat. And then I'm going to take this, and I'm just going to use some glue dots. Where are my glue dots? You take your pick tool. Get some glue dots off, and you might have to kind of just take them and make a little ball, but I'll put those onto the wider section of you could use a little bit of glue. I make such a mess with liquid glue, I'll be honest, so sometimes using one more. Oopsie. Yeah, I like to use glue dots because I do make a mess with my liquid glue. Put one more there. This will pop it up a little bit because they're kind of rolled into little balls, and so I don't know if you can see that, but just kind of rolled and made small enough to fit onto, onto the wider sections of the heart. And this one is gonna, oh no, it's all right. There we go. Something like that. I think that looks like definitely looks like a wedding card. And let's now take and figure out where we're gonna put these words. And so then I can just peel. So we'll do love. I can just peel these off of the foam, or off the backing. I love these dies because you can cut them out and then you can just leave them on the piece of card base and not peel them all off. Love. And then use the rest of the letters as you need them. Love. I could have done these in silver if I had thought about it, but that's okay. Love. There we go. And now I'm going to stamp using Tuxedo Black, the Today and Always. Little tag. I'm going to do that, and then I can put a bow. So let's take a dimensional. Just put it there, and then I'm going to put that over top of the hole in the heart. And I've got this is the Baker Twine Essential Pack, and I'm going to use the white. So I'm going to cut a long piece. I'm going to double it over and then cut it in half again. And now I'm going to tie a bow. We don't have any silver twine anymore. We have I don't know if it's still available. We had the gold and white one that came with the Modern Ornament suite from the last catalog. I don't know if that's still available or not, but it was gold and I was trying to use silver. And so now I've got a little bow. And so we'll just take and use a glue dot. This could be for a silver wedding anniversary card as well, given it's silver. All right, and then keeping with the theme of silver, I pulled out my rhinestones, which don't get a lot of love. For some unknown reason, I love the rhinestones and the look, but there's so many other ones. These rhinestones don't seem to get the love that they probably should. And so we'll put 3 little rhinestones. Actually, maybe we'll do a couple down here in the corner. So 5, always an uneven number. And so when this opens up, it looks like that, but we should probably stamp something on the inside. So let's pull out, I'm sure there's got to be a little things of hearts that I can stamp. All right, let's get a block out. So we'll stamp some hearts in the bottom corner of this. There. All right. Yeah, I think that worked out. I wasn't so sure what it's going to look like with the vellum instead of designer series paper, but I think it looks very pretty. So there you go. That is what I'm calling a pop-out box card, thanks to Susan Campfield who I first saw this on. She creates, if you don't follow Susan, she creates the most amazing fun folds and fancy folds. All right, so again, if you missed any of the measurements for the card, it's going to go live on a blog post in a couple of weeks' time, but if you missed any of them, just leave a comment on this this video. I'm happy to put the measurements in the video as well earlier. If you don't follow my blog, you can hop over to stampingwithmelva.com and you can follow me. I post on a regular basis. Also YouTube, if you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel, check it out. Hit that red subscribe button underneath underneath this video if you're watching on YouTube, and subscribe, and that way you'll get notified when I go live. All right, everybody, thanks so much for joining me. Now, I will be live on Tuesday with a sketch for you. I've been trying to go live at 3 o'clock Pacific, but I have a meeting, so it's going to be back to my 6:30 Pacific time on this particular Tuesday for the next sketch challenge. So hopefully you can join me then. All right, everybody.